Welcome to the With Clarity and Purpose podcast with your host, Yanet Borrego. Each week, I bring you an inspiring person or message to empower you to live life on your terms so you can be who you want to be, do what you are meant to do, and have the life you deserve to have. We will provide you with practical and cutting-edge approaches to continue getting clarity and direction on your path, mastering your mindset, and gaining confidence to tap into your inner wisdom so you can live on purpose. This week is a special week, and this episode is very special because I'm doing something I've never done before. I am sharing with you the last masterclass I had as a podcast episode. So you'll be able to listen at all the content, to access all the content in today's episode, and also go through the exercises that we were doing in the masterclass. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. This masterclass is titled Creating Certainty Within Yourself in Uncertain Times. Because let's be honest, life is full of uncertainty. The only moment we have, which is the present moment, is full of uncertainty because we don't know what's going to happen next. Many times in life, we try to predict, we try to figure out what's next, we try to control every single thing around us, when the reality is that we don't have control of most of the things, but we do have control of the most important element of all, ourselves. So that's why the masterclass is titled Creating Certainty Within Yourself in Uncertain Times. I hope you enjoy it, and if you really find a lot of value from it, share it with a friend, share it with a family member, and please help me to continue empowering and uplifting the community around us. Enjoy. Today's masterclass is all about creating certainty within yourself in uncertain times. And what are uncertain times? Every day of our lives, because the reality is that that's the nature of life. There are so many things we don't have control of in life, but the most important thing we do is ourselves. The way we feel, the way we behave, and the way we think. So this masterclass today, it's all about exploring and discovering 5 life-changing mindset shifts to remain calm, centered, and balanced amidst the chaos, whatever it is that you're going through in your life. My name is Yanet Borrego. I'm going to introduce myself in a couple of more slides, and I'm a clarity and mindset coach. And I'm going to talk in a little bit, I'm going to talk on why this topic is so important to me and why it means so much for me to support you in the most important goal that anyone in this life have, getting to know yourself. I think out of everything else, that's a priority, because when you get to know yourself, you find that clarity you're looking for, you find that certainty that is within yourself already, and you can face life with confidence and courage to pursue your dreams and do anything and everything you put your mind into. So I'm gonna admit someone else. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just beyond excited, and let's make this happen, my friends. In this training, I'm going to show you how you can make the ultimate shift from being paralyzed and overwhelmed by uncertainty, which happens to all of us, to showing up empowered by creating certainty within yourself so you can design a life of abundance, fulfillment, and authenticity, a life of intention and purpose. We have one life, and that's what we are here for, to make a difference in ourselves and make a difference in everyone else who surrounds us. Now, what you need in this masterclass so you can get all the material, you can be successful, you need 3 things, the only 3 things you need: an open mind, an open heart, because we'll be exploring different concepts, and something to write, maybe your computer, your notebook. There are so many studies that
proof that whenever you write something, it gets embedded easily in your subconscious mind, because writing is something we have done for years and years. So it's an automatic process. And when you do it, you can influence and you can access more of that information later on. So something to write, if it's a computer, if it's a notebook, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The how remains flexible. Turn off all distractions. This is a 1 hour just for you to focus on yourself, to nurture yourself, to find that certainty that you have been looking on the outside, but within yourself. So please respect this time for you as we continue making progress. As we start, I want to do just a quick exercise. If you mind just closing your eyes, and the ones in camera, I'll be seeing you. So close your eyes. Close your eyes. And just imagine as you close your eyes that you're in your house. You're in your house, and in your hand, you have your car keys. And you're looking at your car keys, and suddenly the power in your house goes out. All the lights goes off. And then you realize that you dropped your car keys, and it is so dark, and you are trying to find the keys on the floor, and you have been spending several minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and you cannot find them because there is no light. And then you get impatient and frustrated, and you look outside of the window, you look at the street, and you realize that in the street, there is light. And then a light bulb goes up in your brain, and you say, wait, in the street there is light, and I'm trying to find my keys. Let me go to the street where there is light, and let me try to find my keys there. And you leave your house, and then you go on the street where there is light, and you start looking for your keys. And then the neighbor next door, he comes to you and he says, hey, did you lose something? Are you trying to find something in the street? And then you tell the neighbor, I'm trying to find my keys here where there is light. And then the neighbor starts looking for the keys with you, and you guys are spending 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And finally the neighbor asks, hey, where did you lose your keys? Was it here? And you tell the neighbor, I lost the keys inside of my house, but I saw light from the street, and I started looking for them here. And the neighbor looks at you like you're crazy and says, wait, but the keys are outside of here, are inside of your house. Why are you looking on the outside? And I want this to be a story, to be an analogy of how many times the answers you are seeking, they are within yourself. And we get distracted with shiny objects. We get distracted with the light outside. And we forget to really face what's going on the inside. This is the topic for today, is finding those keys, is finding the certainty within yourself, because so many times we run into the distraction of thinking that everything outside of us has control of us. And we have forgotten that the only thing we have control of is us. So I want you to think right now, as you keep your eyes closed, where are you showing up like this? Where are you showing up in a way where maybe you're being led by seeking external validation instead of an internal fulfillment? Maybe where in your life you're getting yourself distracted because you don't want to face what's going on within yourself. And I want you to ask the question, what area of life is that for you? Is it career? Is it family? Is it romantic relationship? Maybe it's wellness, mental, emotional, physical health. What is it for you? And I want you to come back here into the call. And maybe, by the way, I love this story. I listen to this story, and I know Naomi, from Dr. Wayne Dyer. He's one of the most powerful teachers I follow. He unfortunately passed away. But the first time I listened to this story, I felt so identified because, again, we haven't been taught to look on the inside for the answers. And we get easily distracted trying to find that fulfillment, that certainty from our careers, from our partners, from how we may look. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how those things are if we don't work on the inside, on what's going on what's triggering us, we are not going to find that freedom, that certainty. So I asked you to think of an area of life, and I want you to be vulnerable here. And in this area of life, I ask you to think of the area of life where you're running maybe the pattern of relying on external validation to find that certainty instead of looking within yourself. And I want you to put in the chat, what area of life is that for you? One area of life that I'm working on right now and that I'll be working on for the next few years is the area of career of my business, right? Business and partnership. I love it. Same here. I'm raising the hand with you, Andrea. Career and wellness. That's beautiful, Ashley. Just be vulnerable. It's okay. We are in a safe space. We are in community here. What area of life do you keep looking on for external validation? Relationship, that's beautiful, Nikki. Career and wellness, parenting sometimes. Nikki is like, you know that one. No, I'm joking.
I'm crying.
Yeah, I mean, there is always something that we are going to be working on, right? Sometimes when we think of transformation, we think of an outcome, but there is no outcome. We are going to continue working on the process until we pass away from this life. The reality is that transformation is an ongoing process. There is no outcome. So it's important that we focus on the process. Career and personal, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and for really participating. My career, repeating, getting the same type of stressful nursing job. Janice is a nurse and she's really in the process of pursuing her dream and pursuing the things that make her feel fulfilled. And I think that's such a courageous thing to do. So huge kudos to you, Janet. She's right there. And within that area of life, I want you to bring to awareness a challenge or a situation where you would like to tune into yourself for certainty, confidence, and courage. And you don't need to type it in the chat, but I want you to bring up to mind this situation, because as we go through the 5 mindset shifts, I want you to start thinking, how does this apply to this situation? There is a lot of concepts, a lot of theory in this masterclass. And even though I love theory, I think putting these concepts into practice is way more powerful. So if you think of a situation right now and we go through the 5 mindset shifts, at least you get to really apply what you're learning at the same time. So if you're something like me, you want to know where you're heading to at all times. So this is just a quick roadmap of what to expect in this masterclass. I want to know first, why are you here? So that's in a second. Then I'm going to explain, who am I? I mean, why am I talking about this? What is a mindset and clarity coach? Then we are going to go through the 5 mindset shifts, the core content of this program. And if you resonate with these concepts and with this theory and with this application, I'm going to explain how to work with me if this is something that you're interested in. And at the end, I'm going to stay. I clear my calendar for after this masterclass. If you have any questions, if you need any coaching, I'm here for you. One of the purposes of this call is to bring the community together to interact. So let's make that happen. Okay, I'll be here. Okay, stay with me until the end because I have a very special bonus if you stay until the end. But first, I want to know why you're here. You're in the right place if maybe you feel a lack of clarity. You know, you're in a transition period of your life, whether it's in an area of relationships, career, family, health, or romantic relationships, and you're trying to become more grounded and find clarity during these overwhelming moments, which seem to be chaotic and ever-changing. Or maybe this is you. You are trying to find more confidence within yourself. You're working towards your bold and ambitious goals, but you know there is still room to think and act bigger. You're done having self-doubt and are ready to tap into your inner confidence to strengthen that belief that you can do it. Or maybe this is you. You are just trying to find more courage within yourself. You're successful in theory and are comfortable where you are, but there is something missing and you know it. You're tired of playing small and you're ready to tap into your inner courage and resourcefulness to make your dreams come true. I want you to tell me in the comments, in the chat, which one are you? Are you seeking more clarity, or maybe it's more confidence on yourself, or maybe it's more courage to pursue those things? Okay, confidence. I love it, Ashley. What else? What else? What are you seeking more of? Is it clarity? Is it confidence? Is it courage? Courage. I mean, same here. 1, 2, 3. That's totally fair. I think I love how inclusive Nikki is. I mean, I think that's totally fair. In some part, we are working on the 3 of them, like at all times, right? But there is one that if you work on that one, you'll get the highest return on your investment of energy. So which one that is, right? And I see a couple of you saying the 3, totally fair: clarity, confidence, and courage. And that's why you're here. I think the power of all of us sharing this is you knowing that you're not alone. You knowing that all of us, it doesn't matter how much training, it doesn't matter how, I mean, if I'm a coach or not, we are still human beings. We are in the same platform. So we are working on the same things. For me, in the area of life that I'm in, that I'm going to share a little bit with you in a matter of seconds, for me right now, what I'm practicing every single day is courage, because I'm doing every day something that, oh my God, that I feel so much fear, but that I still decide to do it. So I think courage is a big one for me. Fred, clarity. I feel I was on clarity a few months ago. And the cool thing about clarity is that before you gain clarity, everything is so chaotic. Everything is like, what's happening? Where am I going to? So I love that you're working on that, Fred. That's awesome. Whatever your motivation is, I'm here because I fully support you. And I hope that this content adds value so you can get that clarity, that confidence, and that courage, which at the end translates into certainty within yourself. Now, I'm a clarity and mindset coach and speaker. I also have a podcast, which I'm the host. I have been publishing this podcast on a weekly basis for the last year and a half. And because I want to dedicate more time to community, I recently transferred that to monthly, but it's called With Clarity and Purpose. There are so many testimonials from many people, so many transitions. You should check it out. And I'm also a founder of Discover Your Purpose program, a digital course that leads you to find your purpose and gain clarity on that thing which you're trying to pursue in this life. I'm all about clarity, all about purpose, because I think having a purpose adds meaning to your life and makes it more fun and more fulfilling. And I'm here because I've gone through a journey myself of creating certainty from within, and I'm still going through it. And I also coach my clients, my mentees and students to think, feel, and behave in alignment with their authentic self. Whenever you start living in integrity with yourself, which is a lifelong journey of courage, of confidence, and clarity, that's when you can really tap into your highest potential. As you can notice, I have an accent. So I'm definitely not from Houston, Texas. I actually was born in Cuba. That's me when I was 8 years old, next to my mom, my grandmother, and my uncle. I immigrated to the US when I was 12 years old with my mom, which was a single mom. We came here with no resources, no connection, and the only thing that we had was the hunger to be able to create a better future for ourselves. We had a dream of experiencing freedom and creating all the opportunities that being born in a communist country such as Cuba was not going to give us. So earlier on in my life, I needed to find that certainty and that confidence that somehow we were going to figure things out. And thankfully we did. So I was 12 years old when we asked for political asylum in the Laredo, Texas border. And then from there, we moved to Puerto Rico, where I studied chemical engineering. And I was hired in Houston, Texas to be a chemical engineer for ExxonMobil for one of the refineries. That picture that you see there is not a Halloween costume, is me getting ready to inspect one of the reactors that the refinery had. And what you don't see behind that mask was me being unfulfilled, even though I had finished a very prestigious degree, such as chemical engineering. I was 23 years old with a 6-figure salary, everything that anyone would consider success. I was supporting my family financially, even though I had all these checklists of what success was about. Within myself, I was feeling completely unfulfilled. And in this stage of my life, what I was working on was finding that clarity on my long-term direction, asking myself for the first time, who do I want to be? You know, who am I? Who is the person that I want to be at my core? And a chemical engineer wasn't it for me, right? So I went through this process of transformation and gaining clarity. And that's where I started to get obsessed with understanding better the internal world within ourselves and also helping and coaching others do the same. And in the process, I fell in love with coaching. And I stayed in my corporate career for 8 years, almost 9 years. And back in 2021, I decided to pursue my dream of becoming a full-time coach full-time. And this is my second year. I've been 2 years doing this full-time, and I love it. There is a lot of courage in the process. So as you can see, even my life is just such a clear reflection of gaining that confidence that sometimes somehow things will work out, gaining that clarity because I wasn't fulfilled with the path I thought I had chosen for myself. And now being courageous enough to continue pursuing my dreams, which is actually to guide all of you into a path of more fulfillment. Because I got obsessed with understanding our internal world. I just got obsessed with getting certified. I was certified in neurolinguistic programming, which is understanding how our subconscious mind works. I was certified in hypnosis. That's where I met Nikki. Hypnosis, by the way, is not like in the movies where I tell you, do like a chicken and you'll do like a chicken. It's nothing like that. Hypnosis is more about getting you into a state of being very relaxed, where you're suggestive, where there are positive suggestions that your subconscious mind is just absorbing. It's a really powerful process. And then mental and emotional release, a powerful technique. Anyways, I just got obsessed with understanding the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and understanding how we can create sustainable change. And a lot of things that I learned, I want to bring here to you because this is where change happens. I also believe that as human beings, we have 4 bodies: the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and physical. And that's why I've also studied healing arts, such as Huna, which is the native ancient Hawaiian way of being, and then pranic healing. So that's it. Now, let's get into these 5 life-changing mindset shifts. And I want you to imagine this. Can you imagine what it would feel like to embrace change and uncertainty while remaining centered, present, and balanced? Can you imagine that? Now, this is a habit that you build over time. And again, in different contexts, you'll face different circumstances that will trigger different things. And the purpose is not to be perfect, but to have the right skills and tools to get to that place of centeredness and find that certainty within yourself. Mindset shift number 1. When we talk about certainty, right? When we think at a deeper level of certainty, and we ask about what is the purpose of trying to find certainty, it's all about control. It's all about feeling in control. And when you go even deeper and you ask yourself, what is the purpose of feeling in control? It's all about feeling safety, right? In our brain, we still have this ancient part of the brains, which in the past, we would be faced with imminent danger. In the past, a lion could be 5 minutes from you and you needed to run. We would face with hunters, right? So we were in danger at all times. And our ancient brain got used to going into that survival mode. Now, as society and as human beings, we have evolved, but those ancient part of our brain are still there. So even though we are not in imminent danger every 5 minutes, we still have that habit of being on emergency mode at all times, an emergency mode of looking for survival. And that is the root cause, really, that feeling of being safe, that feeling of belonging and being in control, that by us trying to find that certainty outside of us, that's what we are trying to satisfy within, that feeling of safety and control. Now, it gets really tricky because when you're in a situation where you're trying to control the outside world, you become frustrated and resentful very quickly because you realize that you don't have control of much. You don't even have control of the outcomes. You can give your best, right? I can promote this masterclass everywhere, and I don't have control of how many people are going to show up. I don't have control of the outcome. If you let the outside world control you, then that's when you become frustrated. And I love what it's in this slide. You give your power away when you try to control the outside world, and then you realize you cannot control it. And if you don't get back into yourself and you don't get back into that certainty within yourself, the outside world ends up controlling you. The frustration, the resentment that you feel because you feel out of control, that's what ends up controlling you at the end of the day. It is really interesting because the outside world is just a reflection of what's going on within ourselves. The outside world is a feedback mechanism of what we need to do. It's just like a mirror. So if you feel that everything outside of you is out of control, it's such an indication that you gotta really control yourself, and not control yourself in a way of being perfect, but getting into that certainty that everything is temporary and this storm shall pass. And if you look at your past, I'm sure that you have figured out anything, because 5 years ago, you're probably right now in a situation where you were dreaming of being 5 years ago. So you are a human being who is resourceful enough to make
Alexa,
anything happen.
turn on
Bless
pop
you.
on bright.
If you don't mind everyone to put your
No.
phones or your computers on mute, because we can
Alexa,
hear some noise.
turn pop on bright.
We can hear Alexa too. I mean, I love it. Okay, cool. I love this quote from Alice Walker. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any, right? When we let the control circumstances really control our inside world, we feel powerless because we realize that we don't have control over the outcome, and we give our power away. Part of reclaiming our power back is tapping into yourself and knowing that you're capable of making anything happen. So again, the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any, by thinking that we are the victim of circumstances, when really the world is happening for us. Now, I'm not saying that we are going to be empowered 100% of the time, but if you think about it, in the most challenging moments of our lives, that's where we learn the most. Cool, I love it. Okay, amazing. Reality is highly subjective. If you get this concept, the way you perceive the world is going to change completely for the better, okay? Everything that we perceive on the outside is just that, a perception. You can have three people going through the same circumstance, and the three different people have a different perception and perspective of what happened. One of my teachers says, in the Great Depression, there were people that made lots of money, and there were people that lost lots of money. It all depends on how you're looking at your reality, right? So this kind of complicated image is basically saying everything that happens on the outside, how we perceive it in our minds, in our reality, is by a set of filters, right? So something is happening on the outside, and then we filter our reality through our memories, beliefs, decisions, values, focus, baggage. And then from all of that, our behavior gets created. But the cool thing is that you have the power of awareness. You have the power of interrupt that pattern, that autopilot that you have been running over and over. There are many studies that really prove that 90% of the thoughts and the emotions we experience today were the emotions and thoughts we experienced yesterday. So 90% of everything we think, believe, and act is just a pattern of repetition from the past, right? So when we become aware of how we are looking at reality, that's when we become really empowered. That's when we can break the pattern of reliving our past, and we can now create from the present the reality that we have been wanting to create. So again, reality is subjective, and you have the power of these filters of becoming aware of what's going on. At least 80% of the thoughts we experience are negative. And this is every single day. 80% of all of the thoughts, which are thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts, are purely negative, are all about our limitations, not being enough. But now that you know this, you can make that autopilot program become more aware. You can decide to focus on what you want versus focusing on what we don't want. There is this exercise that I take my coaching clients through, and it's this exercise about creating their avatar. Their avatar is, who do they want to be spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And when I ask them and I go through a framework, hey, who do you want to be spiritually? The first thing they told me is who they don't want to be. Why? Because our mind is designed to always think on the negative side of things. So part of finding certainty within yourself is also focusing on the possibilities instead of the limitations. When you wake up, what's the first thing that you're thinking? Are you thinking of your problems? Are you thinking of your limitations? Or are you telling yourself, hey, today is going to be an amazing day, right? And you start with that positive focus, because whatever you focus on, you end up noticing. Again, because we have all these filters of our reality. If you had to choose a word as a filter, right? Now that you're aware, that you understand a little bit better who you are, how you process reality, which is highly subjective. If you had to choose a word as a filter to your reality, what would that be? Mine would be abundance. I want to see abundance everywhere, abundance of possibilities, abundance of celebrating you, because there is a space for everyone. Joy, that's beautiful, Nikki. You want to have the filter of your subjective reality through joy. I love it. What else? What else? Participate in the chat. What would be your filter? The one that you want to intentionally filter out your reality through. Ease. Let it be easy. So many times we overcomplicate things. We make things harder than what they are. Realistic, slightly pessimistic. So, okay, possibilities. So maybe the slightly pessimistic, realistic, that's an interesting flow, right? Letting things flow, abundance in all aspects of my life. Oh, Juan is joining. Wonderful. Well, admit it. Okay. Abundance, flow, possibility, realistic, ease, joy. That's beautiful. I want you to also think of the opposite. When you are noticing yourself focusing on scarcity, notice that you have the decision to focus more on abundance. When you see yourself feeling that you have an attachment to the outcome, notice that the opposite is true. You can let go of that and just flow with ease. That's amazing. I love it. Cool. Okay, I want unquenchable. Wow, I love that word, unquenchable. I love that, Farida. That's super creative. I promise to give you real life examples of what this looks like. This is one of my coaching clients, Roberta. She actually moved to Houston from California to pursue her successful career in sales. And she felt that even though she had great success, she was meant for something bigger and more fulfilling. I feel that's an example of a lot of us. During the coaching process, she overcame the limiting belief of I'm not capable. She thought in her mind that she was not enough, she was not capable. And she released major limiting beliefs that had been instilled in her since a young age. Most of our limiting beliefs are programmed within ourselves from the age of 0 to 7 years old. Now, as an adult, as empowered adults, we can change that, right? With a lot of action, with the right skills. After letting go of those limiting beliefs, she moved across the country and started a career in a director position that aligns perfectly with her values and provides the entrepreneurial component she was looking for. Why? Because she found that certainty within herself that she was capable of creating that reality which she was seeking. And few months before this manifested, that she didn't believe that it was possible. But that's the cool thing of life, that you don't know how things will unfold to support you through this journey. Mindset shift number 2. This one is one that I've been exploring for the last 2 years, because in the last 2 years in my life, I've suffered so many losses that I realized that there is so much healing to happen when we allow space to let go of your expectations by grieving what could have been. This mindset shift is just about practicing acceptance of what is. We are in situations sometimes that we decide to be, or in situations that sometimes we cannot control, but we decide to be there. And part of that, part of finding that certainty within yourself, is allowing that space to surrender to the feelings and emotions of grieving what could have been. Maybe grieving that relationship that you were dreaming of. Maybe grieving that expectations of the job you thought was going to be your dream job. And in the process of grieving, also accepting what is, accepting where you are. Because when you go through a process of accepting and a process of not judging what is in front of you, which, by the way, is a process, we are still human beings, that's when you are empowered to create the reality that you have been dreaming of. So allowance is space to let go of your expectations by grieving what could have been. 2 weeks ago, I was coaching one of my clients, and she was explaining how she always dreamt of having a family that was tight. And after her dad passed away, instead of the family becoming more united, everyone became more separated. And she had so much resentment towards the family that she thought she was gonna have. And I asked her, hey, have you allowed yourself space to let go and to grieve the family that you thought you were going to have? And she looked at me and she was like, no one has ever asked me that question, but that makes so much sense. Having the family you don't have control of. Yes, you can create your family of friends, your created family, but where you are born, you don't have control of. So practicing full acceptance and grieving what could have been, I think is really important. I want to ask you 2 questions. What do you still need to grieve? What are the expectations that you need to let go, and the things that you need to grieve of situations that you thought they were going to be different? I'm going to be very vulnerable. Last July, I went through a miscarriage. I was pregnant for a couple of weeks. I went through a miscarriage, which is very common in many women. And I mean, the more we talk about it, the less we let go of that shame and guilt. And I went through a miscarriage, and thankfully I had educated myself, and I was like, okay, this is super common. And instead of allowing myself space to grieve, I immediately went into work. I had the miscarriage. I was in the emergency room. I had to cancel a masterclass that I was supposed to give. And the next day, I had a breakthrough session with a client. I got myself into work, and I didn't allow the space to grieve what I thought that pregnancy could have been. And 3 months after, because your mind is just like a magic operating system. 3 months after, I was in a spiritual training, and an amount of sadness and grieving started popping up. And I realized later on that it was because I hadn't allowed space to actually go through the process of grieving and healing. So this is important because it's not until you allow that process that you can move forward and you can create the reality you have been dreaming of. So I want you to write down, what do you still need to grieve? And not only that, who do you still need to forgive? Sometimes we find certainty in the familiar, and we go through our life and we have interactions with certain people, and sometimes there is a hurt that happens with those interactions, and we find a sense of certainty and control in not forgiving. One of my clients the other day told me, Yanet, I cannot forgive this person because if not, I'm letting her be who she's being, which is damaging me. And I told her, who do you think is in control right now? You or the other person? Because right now the other person has control over your emotions, over your thoughts, and you forgiving that person is actually taking back that control. It's actually realizing that forgiveness has nothing to do with that person. Forgiveness has everything to do with yourself. So you can move calm, centered, and balanced. I love this quote from Buddha. Andrea, I love it. Nikki, oh my God, so many comments. Janice, this is a huge one for me. Where would I have been in my life if I did this, right? So many times we go through the guilt of resentment, right? What if I would have made this decision earlier on in my life? What if I could have done this? And we go through this guilt, and it's not until we let go of that guilt that we can move forward. Grieve the relationship I just came out of, forgive him and forgive myself. I think that's a great point, Nikki, forgiving yourself. My parents' divorce, which has been impacting my relationships, right? Maybe grieving what that relationship between your parents could have been. I think that's powerful. I love this quote from Buddha that says, holding on to anger, and I added resentment, is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's the same thing. Forgiving the other person has nothing to do with that person. It has everything to do with yourself. So if you want to regain that sense of certainty and calm and centered, you gotta go through this process of grieving and forgiving, which is something that I've been learning myself too. Mindset shift number 3. This one is a big one, and I'm going to explain it. A rigid mindset is fragile. A flexible mindset is limitless. Stay flexible. Sometimes we think that certainty is about control. Confidence is about not changing your mind, right? Sometimes we think that certainty is about perfection. And all of these labels and meanings that we give in our minds, if you think about it, it's all about being rigid. It's all about being attached. And when you think of attached and you look at myself, if you attach to something, you're not letting that thing move, right? So attachment prevents things from moving. Finding certainty within yourself is also embracing the flexibility and the flow that life brings. I like to illustrate this with nature, right? When you look at water, which is, I think water is the most flexible element of nature because it can be it can be a gas, it can be solid, it can be liquid. But if you look at water being a solid, it's a rigid form, when you look at water being ice. What happens when ice hits the floor? It breaks because it's not flexible. What happens when liquid water, which is flexible and it's adaptable, hits the floor? It goes everywhere and it still stays in form of liquid, and it can penetrate spaces where nothing else can penetrate. So in terms of our mindset, if we want to create that certainty, we need to let go of the meaning. Yeah, thank you, Janice. We need to let go of the meaning of certainty, like being in control, certainty of being attached, certainty of knowing everything that needs to happen and expecting things to go in a linear way. Because the nature of life is that everything is ever flowing, everything is ever changing. So thinking that things and life need to go in a linear way, it's just setting ourselves up for failure, not in a good way. So what does a rigid mindset look like? A rigid mindset looks like this. You're going through a challenging situation and you're like, why is this happening to me all the time? Why me? Why is the world happening to me? And I want to be clear here. We all go through this. I think the important part is how long you stay into thinking that you're the victim of circumstances. I mean, I want to raise my hand. There are days that are like, oh my God, having your business is so hard. Why is this happening? But then I realize, wait, this is not a resourceful state. I got to transition back into an empowered state, which is the flexible mindset. A flexible mindset asks instead, what can I learn from this challenging situation? Instead of like, why is this happening to you? Right? Because the world is happening for you. A rigid mindset thinks, I failed. See, I knew it. I'm not capable. A flexible mindset thinks, what did I learn and how can I incorporate this lesson moving forward? It focuses on the process rather than the outcome. Because if you think of failure, failure is an end result. But a flexible mindset knows that there is no failure, there is only feedback, that it doesn't matter what you're going through, you're always getting lessons that you can incorporate moving forward. A rigid mindset thinks, I can't start until it's perfect. Things need to be perfect, very linear. A flexible mindset thinks, how can it ever be perfect if I don't start? Let me tell you something. The iPhones, the Androids that you love, they get updated almost every month because they are not even perfect, okay? So we are learning and we are gathering data and we are learning new things and gaining more clarity every single day. Give yourself permission to be flexible and also change your mind as you get new information. I think this one is a huge one. I love this quote from Tony Robbins. Live life fully while you're here. Experience everything because life is an experimentation process. Take care of yourself and your friends. Have fun. Be crazy. Be weird. Go out and screw up because you are going to screw up anyway. So you might as well enjoy the process. Take the opportunity to learn from your mistakes. Find the cause of the problem and eliminate it, meaning learn from the challenges. Don't try to be perfect because there is no perfection. Perfect compared to what? Just be an excellent example of an imperfect human being. Such a powerful quote that really illustrates a lot of these mindsets that we have been talking about. Okay, mindset number 4, not knowing how things will unfold is at your advantage. Not knowing how things will unfold is actually at your advantage. I cannot, and I've been there, I'm raising my hand, but I cannot tell you how many people, they get stopped, they get paralyzed by not knowing how. Not knowing how is your competitive advantage, because when you don't know how, then your mind is open to experiencing new avenues. If you think about it, you can only create from a place of uncertainty. You can only create from a place of uncertainty. So if you're afraid of uncertainty, of how how many things may turn out, remind yourself that uncertainty is all about creation energy. Because certainty is about repeating the same thing over and over, having control. And that means that if you keep going at that rate, outside of you, you keep repeating and getting the same results you have gotten on the past. So embracing uncertainty is, again, embracing that creation energy, because the only place we can create from is uncertainty. And the only place we can fully embrace uncertainty is in the present moment. That's it, which is the only moment we have. So practicing mindfulness, meditation, praying, working out, whatever that is, it also allows you to embrace that feeling of uncertainty. Because in the present moment, we don't know what's going to happen in the next second. We don't know if we are going to wake up tomorrow, right? So just embracing that place of uncertainty, which is the place of creation. I love this quote. I know I'm a quote kind of girl. I was reading part of Course of Miracles, and also Dr. Wayne Dyer talks about this. And I love this, that he says, if you knew who walks beside you on the path that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. You would never experience fear or self-doubt one more day of your life. We gotta recognize that there is this energy, whatever you call it, whatever, if it's God, if it's universe, if it's yourself, if it's universal mind within yourself, whatever it is, there is this energy that is making our heart beat. There is this energy that is making our hair grow, our nails grow, right? So part of creating certainty within yourself is having this faith that things will work out. And I don't mean faith in the religious sense, but you can interpret it that way if you're religious, is having faith on the possibility. If you look back in your life, you see how all the dots connect in perfect sense to get you to where you are today. But many times in your life, you didn't know how it was going to happen for you, but you kept trusting and you kept having faith that somehow the path was going to unfold in unpredictable ways to support you. And I want to ask you a question. What would you do if you knew you were supported? What would you do if you knew you were supported? Sometimes you got to go first, take that leap of faith, knowing that everything around you is going to support you. I mean, I think of my mom, right? She got here to the US with nothing. But again, she had that hunger for that freedom to create possibilities. She had the hunger to give to her daughter what she didn't have herself. She wasn't supported, but she was. She just didn't know it at that time. So what would you do if you knew you were supported? I want to talk about Farida, a big shout out. She's here. She's amazing. And Farida is a friend and also a former one-on-one client, one-on-one coaching client. Farida, when we started working together, she was feeling stuck and she used to put herself down before giving herself the opportunity to pursue any of the goals, any of her dreams. She was struggling with being herself, with setting boundaries and actually communicating assertively with herself and with others. During the whole process of coaching, she released the belief of I'm not good enough. And she decided to trust herself, to find that certainty within herself while taking action and getting results on her career and personal development. She now feels empowered to face life's challenges with courage and authenticity. And she was telling me today, we were texting, and Farida, and you can write in the chat, but you were texting me how calm and centered you are feeling lately, right? Having the tools, having the mindset to know that even in the most challenging moments, you're going to be okay. And Farida recently, she had a knee injury that thankfully she has been healing super quick. But in those moments of injury, in those moments of not knowing what's going to happen, in those moments where you realize I don't have control of anything that could happen to me, really. But the only thing I have control of is myself. So I love, Farida, how, you know, recently you have been practicing all of these, which is a day-to-day actually habit of making things happen. Farida let go of her baggage from her past and raised her standards in the pursuit of happiness. She has a great story. She has an amazing story, and I hope you get to write a book one day, Farida. Farida actually was born, and she gave me permission to share her story. She was born into a very, very religious cult. And her family was born into that cult. And in the process of getting to know herself, she realized that she wanted to raise her standards and she wanted to pursue happiness for the first time without knowing what happiness looked like for her. And she decided to leave everything behind, to leave her family behind, to leave everything she knew behind to create the life that she was dreaming. And I think this is very important because she didn't know how the path was going to unfold for her. But now she's married with her husband, was a huge support. She has a kid. She is doing amazing at her career. And I love the quote that Farida said when we were texting. She said, I chose myself by stepping off the path that had been laid out for me, a path that had been laid out for her, of being born into a context, into a situation that when she was a child, she didn't have control of. But as she grew up, she started taking responsibility for herself. She started getting empowered and she pursued that freedom. And now she's giving to her daughter that freedom that she didn't have when she was growing up. What an amazing story, Farida. A huge shout out to you. Okay, cool. Mindset shift number one. We are finishing with the mindsets, and I know it's 6:51. I just want to make sure I give you all the goodies. Okay, this one is a kind of harsh mindset, but it is yeah, Farida, yes, the injury made me look inwards physically and emotionally and evoke so many emotions. The self-growth never stops. It is eternal. It is a process, totally. I think the more you grow, the more complex challenges you face, and the more complex challenges you face, sometimes the old triggers come back, but this time to be faced in a different way. And we got to let go again, and we got to incorporate the lessons again. We are just like an onion. You know, you peel the onion, there are more layers and layers and layers. But again, it is a lifelong process. And part of finding that certainty and that fulfillment is taking responsibility for what's going on within ourselves. Mindset shift number 5, a very realistic one. No one is coming to save you. Sometimes, and I say this in the most empowered sense, sometimes we are waiting. We treat life like a waiting room, waiting and waiting for someone to show up for us, for someone to offer us help. But the reality is, and I want you to adopt this because I think this can transform your life. You are the one that you got to save yourself. You got to ask for the help. You got to ask for the support. You got to make sometimes hard and align decisions that will help you align with who you are already, that will help you live in integrity with yourself. If you recognize no one is coming to save you, you realize that you are the only one who can save yourself. Because if you don't work on yourself, you can be in a room of people and have a lot of company, and you can feel lonely within yourself. So it's not about anything external to you. It's not about how many people are surrounding you. It's all about your internal world. So I want you to take this mindset shift and really take full accountability and ownership for this, because the reality is that you are a complete human being. All the answers you're seeking, they are within yourself already. All the resources you need, you think you need, they are within yourself already. You are resourceful to figure out anything. It's not a matter of time, money, or anything else. When you want it, you get it. And I'm sure we can look back at your life and we can go situation by situation and see how many things you have been able to accomplish, even without knowing how the heck you were going to get there. So give yourself huge kudos, because you, my friend, as a human being, are super resourceful. I want to talk about Naomi. She's here too. A huge shout out. Naomi has a super, I mean, everyone here, all clients, all of you, I'm sure you have many untold stories that I would love to tell one day. Naomi became a mom. She moved to a foreign country and stepped back from her intense 10-year corporate career. She felt lost in identity. She felt she had lost her identity because a lot of her identity, she realized it was attached to career. And she also struggled to recover from postpartum depression. I've worked with many new moms and I've lived through them, and I've realized when you have a kid, you go through a huge identity shift. And that was what Naomi was going through. Naomi decided to do coaching and she took full responsibility for change and made her personal development a priority. She relaunched her career, and with every move, she's aligning more and more to her with her purpose. She gained clarity on her direction and is currently building two side businesses. She has developed a strong sense of confidence and belief in herself. And as I mentioned, every step she takes is to gain more clarity, to align more with everything she has learned about herself. This is us celebrating the end of the coaching programs. I always take kind of like a picture at the end and we celebrate. And I want to, oh, my Sherpa, mwah, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, coaching is a commitment and I act like a guide, but you gotta, I mean, the clients have to take action. It is a action focused process with a lot of commitment, right? Financially, emotionally, time-wise, everything. So kudos to you, my friend, too, for all the transformation you have made. So it's not a lack of resources, it's your lack of resourcefulness that sometimes stop us. I mean, including myself. Sometimes we are like, we don't know how to do this. You always have the answers. You can figure it out. What you need to create more of is that certainty that you're capable, that certainty that you're enough, and that certainty that you are resourceful. That's what matters at the end of the day. Okay, way to go, Farida, Naomi, everyone. I love it. Thank you so much, Liana. Liana also retired recently. So congrats to you, my friend. I hope you're enjoying the retirement life. Okay, cool. So knowledge, people say knowledge is power, but I say knowledge is potential power. Action is real power. I want you to ask, what is one action? What is one action that you're going to take starting today in order to create certainty within yourself? Maybe it was one of the mindset shifts that resonated with you, or maybe it was one of the questions that I asked. What is one action? I want you to put it on the chat. Share with us that one action. Of all the content I shared, you're probably going to remember maybe 10% or 6%. What you remember is what you were meant to remember, is the thing that you were meant to take action on. What is that thing, my friend? I want you to put it on the chat so we can, ooh, I like that one. Stop thinking, just do something, anything, even if it's emptying the dishwasher. Yes, love it. I mean, Farida is all about taking action. Just do one thing. What else? What is the one action that you commit to taking moving forward in order to continue creating that certainty within yourself? Ooh, to remind myself that my uncertainty is where my creativity lives. We cannot create from a place of certainty. A place of certainty, you know what it is already. A place of uncertainty, it's open. There is space to create. Remind myself that there is no failure, only feedback. Therefore, I will take more courageous actions more often. That touched my soul. Taking more courageous actions more often. What else? I want to read more. Oh, wait, no one will come to save me. Consistency with my business. I love that. One view. I love that. Write a letter of forgiveness to the person that the relationship didn't work out with. Write a letter of forgiveness. Such a powerful process, Nikki. Remind myself that I have an advantage by not knowing everything. Perfect reminder when building a business. I love that, Naomi. And I think the perfect example of that is Sarah Blakely, which I know you love her. She always says, not knowing how is your advantage, because that way you can create from a place of not knowing anything and you can be more resourceful and creative. That's perfect. I'm giving myself permission to be happy, really happy, to make it easy when you're really happy, in spite of everything that has passed and all that could go wrong. You know, in life, again, we don't have control over anything, and there are things that will go wrong. What matters is how we respond to those and what we focus in, because you can focus on things that go wrong, which will always be there, or you can focus on the things that are going right, which I'm sure there are also things that are going right. No one is coming to save me. Prioritize me and changing my life, choosing yourself. That's beautiful. I love it. Okay, my friends. Okay, how would your life change if you would create a life driven by internal fulfillment instead of external validation? Farida, I can't control the future. I can only control how I consistently show up. Letting go of attachment to the outcome. That's powerful. How would your life, and do Ho'oponopono, that's the forgiveness meditation. How would your life change if you would create a life driven by internal fulfillment, driven by being in integrity with yourself, instead of external validation, instead of wanting to please others? Biggest takeaway, detachment, just letting go, detach, let things flow. I want to talk about Paola. It's so funny, we worked together 3 years ago, and since graduating, she had struggled with finding her path, figuring out how to be successful and feeling some control over her career and future. Paola would put herself down before even starting a challenge. She overcame the limiting belief of I will fail. When you are afraid of failure, there is a presupposition in your mind that you will fail. And she overcame that, and she gave herself permission to dream. She was really afraid. I remember when she made the decision to pursue her MBA, and next year she's going to be finishing her MBA. She no longer makes excuses, but feels brave enough to face her fears, enjoying a newfound curiosity to explore what she previously thought were unrealistic goals, and having the determination to make them real and to make them happen. That's powerful. Thank you, Fred. If you like my support, this is the section where I share how you can work with me. 1 hour of full content. If you like my support in creating certainty within yourself and you are ready to make the commitment mentally, emotionally, financially to make things happen, we are in June 2023. I cannot believe we are midway of this year. If you look at the goals, if you ever set goals for January and December, I want you to be honest with you and take radical responsibility. How are you doing? We are halfway of this year. The time is now to make things happen. And creating certainty within yourself and accessing your inner resourcefulness, I want to share with you my one-on-one coaching program. It's called Aligned. It's called Aligned because I think when we feel stuck, when we feel we lack clarity, confidence, and courage, is because we are misaligned. As I mentioned, I truly believe that you have all the resources you need within yourself. If you align within yourself and you start trusting more of what is within, you can manifest any abundance, any fulfillment, any happiness that you're wanting to.
Permission to be powerful, how to lead with confidence and live with no regrets. This is a free, live, and power-packed masterclass which is happening on Wednesday, August 9th at 6 p.m. Central. You're going to learn the strategies and mindset shifts that have helped my clients and myself align to our authentic self and live a life full of abundance and fulfillment. We are going to talk about how to stop faking it until you make it so you can show up authentically, how you can overcome comparison and jealousy so you can focus on your goals, how to also effectively communicate boundaries and also speak up with confidence and assertiveness. Because, my friend, you were born to shine bright. You can sign up using the link in the show notes. And at the end of the masterclass, I will also share how you can work with me if you're ready to embark in this self-discovery journey. Through my aligned coaching program, I've helped many clients accomplish dreams that they never thought were possible, like manifesting an executive leadership position and moving across the country to their dream state, attracting their ideal romantic partner, overcoming the imposter syndrome, creating side businesses, and much, much more. Again, this free masterclass is happening on Wednesday, August 9th at 6 p.m. Central. If you can't make it live, no worries, sign up because I will be sharing the recording. Thank you so much for listening at With Clarity and Purpose. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Sharing is caring. Please share with your friends and family so we can continue building an empowered community together. I'll see you next week.